Pop my shit, yeah, I'm pop my shit. Nigga been having, you ain't got it like this. Young nigga be hating, you ain't got it like this. What's happening? Yeah, back active with another video. We are back active talking about the rap cap. And I ain't necessarily talking about the rappers. I mean, that's self-explanatory, you know. They do a lot of capping. So we ain't worried about the rappers capping. Nope. We talking about the other side of the industry, the actual industry giving you all that cap, man, part 2. Yep. This is my second time talking about this. This is not my first time talking about all this cap these record labels be doing, having you in the wrong mindset, lying to you in these contracts. But before we get into all that, man, you got to know here on Uncommon Sense, we are on the road to 5K. We are on the road to 5,000, man. That's just my goal, and that's just what I'm gonna do. Cause me, Z, I accomplish my goals. I don't know about y'all, but I get to mine, man. I set it and kill it every time. So 5K is the motion, man, and I appreciate the whole, the Uncommon Sense Mafia, man. Yeah, where we slide on the diamonds, man. When we help to everybody who got some common sense and enlighten the people who don't have common sense, because it all seems uncommon to people who don't have common sense. What we talking about? Yeah, so I'm finna expose the rap game for the second time, man. And you know, the first time I did it, we got a lot of good traction. A lot of rappers will hit me up like, man, I appreciate that, bro. That was some informative information, because a lot of people don't even be knowing about this stuff. That'd be the craziest thing. Like, a lot of niggas just be rapping, which is cool. Me, I'm an artist. I just be worried about doing the art good and kind of forget about the business. But the more I learn the business side of it, the more successful I get at everything I do. Every time I learn the business side of something, I get successful. So let's just show you anybody who interested in being successful and going around this cap ass shit these folks talking about, bro. Let's get into this video and we gonna bust it down.
Are you in a 360?
I don't know.
No, don't tell me you don't know. If you don't know you're in a 360, you're in a 360. It's like one of those.
Okay.
Then tell me what you want from hip hop.
I'm making music, bro. I'm just having fun. You know what I'm saying? My fans love it.
You have a problem with just having fun in 5
What do you want me to say? You want me to say?
I want you to be aware of your business. I want you to know whether you're in a 360 or not. I want you to appreciate the culture that changed your life and took you from college dorm rooms eating oodles and noodles.
Chill.
You know, my manager saw my record deal and said, this is a record deal. I had to spend my own money auditing my label because millions of dollars are missing, and you can tell when millions of dollars are missing.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you before we finish. No, let me ask you, bro.
Yeah.
If somebody owed you $500,000, how would you feel?
Yeah, crazy.
What if they owed you $1 million? What if they owed you $3 million? Listen. Okay. What if they owed you that, bro?
Right. I understand.
And you showed up for them and you did all these things, right?
Right.
And they up billions.
Now more than ever, hip-hop artists have the power to be the masters of their own destiny. And thanks to the internet and social media, literally anyone with a drive and determination can reach audiences around the world. Able to make music with an iPhone or computer, this drastic overhaul in both music distribution and the ability to generate a fan base should have meant, theoretically at least, that record labels should have become extinct. Inspired by the success stories of those who refused to sign to a label and do it independently, some believe that the power of record labels must have been crumbling. In fact, disruptive ex-major label head Steve Stout believes that it would only take one flagship artist to take a stand in order for the whole thing to fold in on itself like a house of cards.
If Drake right now posts a link on a picture on the gram of his new album, Lincoln Bio, new album out, fully independent, Drake will make $10 million a week for 60 weeks.
By the way,
you know what I'm saying?
Drake is about to get the biggest bag in the history of the music business by far.
He should.
They don't want that to happen, because the day that happens, you might as well close the business down.
But as empowering as this concept is, the reality is different. Despite the rise in independence and the adoption of new distribution platforms such as Empire and United Masters, 93.3% of hip-hop that made it onto the billboards between the years 2010 and 2018 came from the majors. And in a broader sense, 3 major record labels, Sony, Universal, and Warner, continue to produce 2/3 of all music sold. No matter how many people claim to be going it alone or maintain that they have their own imprint, the majors are signing over 50 artists a month, each one of them feeling, for a moment at least, like the most important person in the world until the walls come tumbling down.
Bro, that man just said labels are signing 50 artists a month. This is what I want y'all to do. I don't know if a lot of y'all did this. Go look at the record label rosters. It's public information. It's so many people you never heard of that you just keep scrolling and scrolling, and you'll see so many different artists from Atlantic, from Epic, and you never heard of these people, bro. And they waiting to come out. You know what I mean? Where I'm from, we got a couple people signed to some labels. I haven't seen or heard them since. It's like you sign them and then they just disappear, bro. You know what I mean? Be careful. Anybody going trying to just sign to a label, your whole career is just to sign to a label, man. You definitely gonna want to change your whole plan up, bro. Because that ain't the move. You get signed with 50 artists just like he signed you this month and you feel like you the hometown hero, and now it's 50 more y'all. It's 50 states. He go pick somebody from each state, and everybody's sitting around waiting to pop and bubble, and then next thing you know, people forget about you, bro. You're better off.
As the countless cautionary tales make it all too clear, these companies don't so much sell dreams as they loan them out. Not to mention, when it comes time for them to get what they feel they're owed, the repayments are exceedingly high. Upholding a world in which a famed group such as TLC could have had platinum certified sales and yet still finds themselves so broke that they had to borrow 15 grand for a lawsuit, you'd think that the increased access to information of this kind would give artists pause before signing the dotted line. But from an artist as famed as Meek Mill's claiming that he's never received a dime from MMG, to Big Sean informing the world that he was signed into a 360 deal that came with just a $15,000 advance, the labels have still managed to scheme and plot their way into holding on to the status quo that they've created. As for how they do it, well, there's a series of age-old scams which are employed to keep both major labels and their seemingly hip-hop-friendly subsidiaries in the driver's seat. For starters, we have the whole concept of a record company advance. Often seen as the first substantial bag that an up-and-coming rapper receives, the advance has become the stuff of hip-hop legend. Defined as a sum of money given by the label to the artist for them to live off of while producing an album, which then has to be paid back from sales of that album before any royalties can be claimed. The common perception is that they've awarded the funds to you, and from then on, they're at your disposal. Considered to be the budget for your record, it'd be expected that this was yours to do with what you'd like. But in reality, there are ways in which a major will step in and drain your cash reserves, leaving you with little or nothing to show for it by the end of the recording process. Or in the most duplicitous of circumstances, funnel your cash into another artist that's popping at the time. I seen that I was tied to another artist, Waka Flocka Flame said of his time at Warner. Most of my budget money is going to the one that put more money in. They enter, you get hot, we throw the money. If you don't have the record that's buzzing, they don't care, you're flipped. During a recent episode of Off the Record podcast, Academics relayed another tale of budget tampering that he'd heard of. This time, he said that the label went out of their way to make the recording experience as expensive as possible for the artists in order to deplete their funds and retain control.
They gave somebody a $2 million recording budget. In a $2 million recording budget, they wanted to book a studio every day for 6 months straight. The manager for the artist said, well, if it's $2 million, we finna save some money. We about to take about like 60 to 70,000. We gonna build our own studio. They said the label told them, we won't approve of any place that we don't already pre-select, which means you can't take the budget and go do it a cheaper way.
I said this in the first video, bro. You get a record deal, they sign you, give you the money to do the album, and then they tell you how you're gonna do it and where you're gonna spend the money at. See, me, I have my own studio. I'm a rapper, engineer, producer, my nigga. I don't need none of that. With a label, it's not gonna matter. They're gonna send me to the studio they want me to go to, send me to the producer they want me to go to, and make me get the engineer that they want me to have. I might not even like this nigga. I don't even like the way you record. I like the way I record. I don't need no producer, bro. I make my own beats, bro. Why are you spending my money? Because it's not your money. That's how they get you. It's not yours. You're gonna do what we tell you to do. We just want the name, brother. You just want to take your name and use it. That's it. Don't already be bubbling in the street. Oh, man.
The place they ended up having to basically settle with, it was a mansion in the Hollywood Hills that had a studio in it that they paid $3,500 a day. Running through that artist's budget. The label and the person who owned the crib, they got a relationship. That's almost like money laundering. You're making sure that that artist's budget go to the person you with. You're saying they got a big budget, but you won't give them the budget that they could do what they want.
Given the illusion of control by dangling a big yet unobtainable number in front of your face, This tactic also bleeds into the underhanded trend of labels flattering their artists with gifts, which, while appreciated, can act as a distraction from what's really going on in the accounting. From Birdman gifting Wayne Bentley coupes and Rolls Royces in the years prior to Weezy revealing the millions in unpaid earnings that they've withheld from him, to Summer Walker, whose original 2017 deal with Interscope gave her a pitiful 15% royalty rate, being given a G-Wagon by those very same bosses, labels are happy to give you all the trappings of lavishness on their terms. When in reality, they should simply pay artists adequately and allow them to make whatever purchases or financial decisions they choose. But, as we're learning, the labels will employ any tactic they can to keep things lopsided, even if it means immorally tying young men and women up in legal knots when they've likely never seen a contract before in their lives. Although there are many ways to do this, one that's become particularly prominent in hip-hop is providing artists with the same legal counsel that advises the labels, thus ensuring that at every turn, they'll act in the interests of the massive firm, rather than the young, impressionable creatives. For a contemporary example of this, look no further than Migos' recent high-profile lawsuit against Damian Granderson. Filed in 2020, Migos alleged that Granderson cheated the group out of millions of dollars, accusing him of glaring conflicts of interest, and also accusing him of betraying Migos when he failed to disclose the complete nature of his relationship with Quality Control. DJ Boost Brian Z. Zizuk noted that he was the very same man that negotiated their first ill-fated deal with 300 too. In a deep dive into the situation on the Joe Budden podcast, former co-host Rory Farrell, who previously worked for Sony as a marketing manager, cited the situation as a clear-cut example of how when it comes down to it, Migos' family ties with QC or not, the deck is always stacked against the artists.
I don't care if you have the biggest single on earth. To a lawyer, you are not more of a higher priority than a production company or the label that you are signing to. So when the people that you think are managing you offer you the lawyer to then negotiate with the management company, stop right there. That's their lawyer. They will only have your best interest at heart when it profits to the production company or the label.
Far from an isolated incident, this devious tactic of equipping an artist with a company's lawyer was the same practice that led Tyga to have to pay at least 12 to 15 million to get out of his contract with Cash Money, intent on keeping artists on.
Tyga paid 12 to 15 million. Man, and the number of people paying to get out of their deals is increasing, bro. The number of rappers and singers and entertainers paying to get out of their own contract that they willingly signed is increasing, because after they get into it, they realize it's bullshit. And that's why we're here now, to let you know. I mean, I just hope this reaches somebody who raps or sings or just want a record deal or don't do it. Man, if you get, work hard to get motion. You hear me? Like me, I'm on YouTube. I work hard to get my motion. You think I'm a do numbers on YouTube and give my money up or my percentage up to somebody coming saying, hey, I manage YouTubers? I don't give a damn. I manage YouTubers too. Me. I'm not giving my money up, bro. You can be my assistant. I will pay you to work on my payroll, but I'm cool. That's how you gotta treat these folks, bro. You gotta act like and know that you don't need these people, bro. Especially when you got your own motion going.
Back foot, this is an extreme example of the deck that can mount up when you're on a major. But in the words of academics, this is at the core of how labels keep artists ensnared for years.
Why are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously. Why are you not investing into one of the
on end?
You have leverage with somebody when they're always in debt, when you're financing their career more than they've made. You know what a label does when an artist you have recouped? They offer you more money. Oh, so we gave you $1 million for your first album and damn, you blew that out of the water. Yo, we'll give you 5 right now. What's up? They're gonna drown you in debt. The label's job is to drown you in debt. Royalty payments, the split on it between the artist and the label is different when the artist is in debt than when the artist has recouped.
Barring the financial red tape that they'll wrap artists up in once you're signed, it's important to remember that sometimes the biggest scam that they can ever perpetrate is getting you in the door in the first place. Because in the era of independence, the prestige of a record label is often built on a false narrative which lulls you into thinking that they'll eventually elevate your career, when in reality, they're just segmenting the money that you could have earned. And by the time that they lock you into the dreaded 360, the extent of their control over your earnings can't be undone.
And I've watched them trick people into thinking that after they built their foundation and they have their show and all the exposure is done, that they need them to go to the next level and then have them sell their whole entire behind away. 360, whole 360 degrees of your pause away.
On other occasions, as explained by No Limit icon Master P, they'll exploit the naivety of a young artist from poverty, and by signing you early, withhold your true value for decades.
Like, even you look at the guys now, that's probably big right now with social media. I just seen they had NBA Youngboy. He's the biggest YouTuber, you know, for his
Influence.
music. He did a deal for $2 million for 5 records. So think about that. You got the money up front, but imagine what they get. So we have to teach that to the next generation. Look at the bigger picture. Don't just look at the now. That $1 million look good right now, but what about 10 years from now?
Make no mistake, there are artists who've managed to make the mainstream system work for them. And in the case of 21 Savage, who owns all of his masters, or SZA, who obtained a 70-30 split in her favor between herself and Interscope, there are definitely case studies to be inspired by. But for everyone who thinks that they can tame the beast, you have an NLE Choppa who, after initially turning down a $3 million deal and making a big deal out of his distribution with United Masters, took a joint venture with Warner just months later. Now just one album and mixtape into his deal, he's hoping to rush back to independence after seeing Through the Glass. But if any artist has been relentlessly banging the drum for taking label deals on your terms while keeping one eye on independence at all times, it's Russ. After making his name off his own back, Russ acknowledged that there are reasons to sign during a feature on the Rory and Mal podcast.
If a Universal is prepared to give you 600 grand, that's because they think you're gonna make 2 mil. When you start really seeing the fruits of your labor and labels are willing to offer you these 6-figure deals, $1 million deals, 7-figure deals, it's because you're worth more than that. I jumped ship with Columbia July 2016 because I wanted radio. Apple Music came out in 2015. Even in 2016, streaming was not what it was. I was still looking around the game like, all right, well, I want to be a massive artist. I don't want to be underground. And I'm noticing, well, everyone who's massive has a label. So I'm like, oh, I gotta level the playing field. It wasn't because I needed the money, because I was making at that point 100 grand a month. It wasn't the money. It was, I need to level the playing field because I gotta get access into radio and certain things that I don't have access to. Now, in 2021, if I was an up and coming artist making 100 grand a month, would I sign? No.
Independent once again after seeing out his contract, Russ is ready to do it all again, beginning with new EP Chomp 2. And now, he's come back with what he saw as insider information on how to provide funding without ever having to grovel to a major.
Anything you're getting from the label, you can fund it yourself. And honestly, if it's like, well, the label puts up the money to go get radio. Let's say it's 250 grand to like go all the way with it. Well, I don't want to play with my own money. I don't want to play with my own money either. Guess what you can go do? Go get a line of credit. I go get 500,000 from a bank and I use it. I got to now pay monthly. It's still my money at the end of the day, but it's about time value of money. It's about cash flow. It's about peace of mind, right? And it's about going into your pockets. I'll go into the pockets of the bank. So with Chomp 2, I was like, I could fund this. I have millions of dollars in the bank. I could fund it myself. Why? Yo, bank, give me my line of credit. All right, cool. Here's $500,000. Say less.
Self-assured as he is, and this being the antidote to popular artists ever having to tangle with labels, it must be said that this is an oversimplification that leaves many factors out. Considering that studies show that black-owned firms are twice as likely to be rejected for credit than their white counterparts, the model that Russ is putting out there isn't necessarily viable for many of those in the very art form that he, as a white person, has integrated with. And beyond that, it also only applies to those who've already made a fortune, meaning that for many of those who still have hopes of using art to lift themselves out of hardship, going to the bank and getting a cool $500,000 is a pipe dream. Although artists such as the late, great Young Dolph have proven that with enough hustle, you can make millions off your own back with ever taking a bag from a label, that takes a level of resolve that is almost inhuman. As frustrating as it is to watch, the reality is that record labels have mastered the art of overriding your better judgment and making it seem as though they're improving your life in one fell swoop. When all you've known in life is poverty, a seemingly life-changing sum of money up front is incredibly hard to turn down. And, immoral or not, labels know that all too well. While it'll take a long time before their influence is truly eradicated, all we can hope for is that their stranglehold keeps loosening through independent success stories to the point that eventually, sometime in the distant future, this scam is laid bare, once and for all.
Man, but there you go. A lot of them points I made on the first one. You know what I'm saying? On part one, man. Part two is just reassuring. Like, first thing, let me just address this. What Buddy was saying, like what Russ was saying, you know, about you have to have some money to invest. Yeah, he is speaking about the artists that already have some money and use your credit and your bank to fund your own. He's basically saying the record label is acting like a bank. You don't need the record label. You can go do what the bank, what the record label is doing from your own bank if you have money in there. And you ain't gotta have millions. You just have a couple thousands. You know what I mean? Move at your level. If you're an independent artist and you got some motion, man, like they say about Dolph, get your hustle up. Put 2,000-3,000 in the bank, 4,000 in the bank, and see if you can get 2,000 from them just to put the mixtape together or pay for something out of that loan that goes towards your career. That's any business. That's what they encourage all our businesses to do. All the businesses to get business loans. Rapping is a business. Me here on Uncommon Sense, right here on YouTube, is a business. You know what I'm saying? The things I pay for, I work hard for YouTube to pay me back. And I'll take that money, put it in the bank, and get a loan from it to expand on the smallest of scale. Even if you don't have no fans or no money, you can start. Don't let that discourage you. 4-2, just like Dolph said, man, look, you can grind this shit up. Y'all know how to grind. Y'all know how to hustle. You know what to do, what you need to do. But don't hustle so hard and grind all that money up and get in a position, then throw it away by signing and giving your all. They can just give your whole career away, and they can just shelf you, or they can just use you, or continue to put you in debt. That's all I'm talking about, man. Upgrade your independent game. It's not hard with social media and the way this shit going, man. Y'all know y'all can pop, bro. Y'all know y'all can pop off, man. You got to put the work in. You got to stay up and you all night, and you can't sleep. And you can't sleep on yourself. You gotta go hard. Ain't nothing easy. But being broke ain't easy. Being rich ain't easy. So that means all of it hard, right? Yeah. Well, what hard you gonna pick? I'll pick the rich hard. I'll take the rich hard over the broke hard any day. Any day. All of it is hard. There ain't no getting around it, man. So stop being lazy, or stop being, discouraged by the information you don't know, feeling that you can't do things. And all you got to do is sit down, study, learn information about what's your odds, because it's not all the way a bad thing to to sign a record deal if you have a game plan and a motive. Y'all sign with y'all punk ass for 2 albums. I'm gonna get them 2 albums out the way real fast, get my money, and go on about my business. Now I have built a brand and a name that I can stand on. Plenty of people have done it. XTI, Dolph never signed. Look at people, they put themselves in a position, up their name, and got off the bandwagon of letting people take advantage of their talent and their money, and now they going on with a independent motion, man. It's possible. I'm just here to hip y'all, man, and hope y'all think about this shit with some uncommon sense, and that's what we do over here. You know what I mean? So please, 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 like I always say, man, use some uncommon sense in this common ass situation when niggas and people and artists wanna sign record deals and know that it is a scam. Till the next time, I'm out of here.